Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Haarute. My name is Matt. Hello. Hi everybody. Buffy time. Last time on Buffy, what happened? We had a kind of a joke episode. Everyone was just like really dialed up to 11. Everyone was just a lot of personality traits that clash with one another. Everyone was just arguing, and it came down to like Anya and Willow having issues with one another, and in particular the relationship with Sanders specifically. But it's everything's well now. Everything's good now. The fall off of Buffy's relationship with Riley is more than anything treated as kind of a joke. At least that's how it was in that episode, and that was honestly very much welcomed. I don't know if I had it in me to just survive another episode of Buffy feeling like shit over the fact that she had another failed relationship. Like, that's not to say that's a bad thing, it's just not something I necessarily would have liked to see. The way they handle that to me is probably the best they've done so far, so that's why I enjoyed that episode. But at the very end of the episode, we had a little scene. It seems that Dawn heard what they were talking about, Giles, Joyce, and Buffy. Maybe she didn't hear a lot of things. I don't think they said anything like super specific, but they did mention that, you know, something about Dawn. So that's kind of our cliffhanger for last episode. So now I think we're gonna start exploring a little bit the storyline of Dawn figuring out what is going on regarding her and how people see her. And we know she's very insecure, so this is all gonna snowball out of control probably. So we'll see how this goes. I do feel like I have to let you guys know that, one, I am very tired. Two, it is a stormy day outside. It's not currently raining, but it seems like it might soon. So if you hear noise in the background, that might be the reason why. Let's hope my power doesn't go out. Alright, Patreon, check out the Patreon link in the description below, pop up on the screen. You can support the channel, watch the next 2 episode reactions, as well as full-length reactions and Angel watch-alongs. That's always super fun. Okay, let us begin. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 5, Episode 12. Let's go. Oh, the console?
She passed. You didn't.
So the console's coming back on some level.
Council of Watchers has found some information that may help us out.
Okay, presumably.
Find that out when they arrive.
They're right. Oh, they're coming?
What's so bad about them coming here? Aren't they good guys?
Essentially, their agenda is the same as ours. They want to save the world and kill demons.
Kill the current demons, right? Current demons.
They put me through that test and almost killed me.
Yeah.
And then when I was Faith, they almost killed me again.
Yes.
Honestly,
They don't sound very ex-demon compatible.
are you sure they're English? I thought English people were gentler than normal. Maybe it won't be. And they're gonna screw everything up.
Yes.
It's a delicate time right now. I have to take care of Dawn.
But that's
and
not new. You've always taken care of her.
That's precisely why we need to talk to them.
Honey, what are you doing up at this hour?
Dawn, are you listening? I can get a snack if I want to.
Yeah, why are we having meetings at Buffy's house?
If the council knows something about Glory, then maybe it will help us get a grip on what we're dealing
I
with.
feel like the council is gonna be more on the mind of let's kill the key to ensure that they never get it. Oh, is she? Does she need the key, or she will lose her mind or something? She seems unwell, or is she feeding on people?
Drink.
Okay, she is feeding on these people. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm good. It's okay.
Okay, and she's good now, I guess. And now,
I know you're all always looking at me. Always felt I can see. My hat.
Ah,
My hat.
try not cutting things so close next time.
okay, so she has a time limit.
Have something to tell me?
Indeed, Glorificus.
Glorificus.
If you are to use the key, you must act quickly.
If that girl's the only thing between me and my key, I don't need much time.
Oh boy. If she's not a vampire, she can just go and murder her entire family. Like, that's the only thing that stops us from that happening, literally from like season 1, is that vampires can't just step inside her house. But if she's actively being targeted by something that doesn't really have to abide by any rules, why aren't they just burning her house down and killing everyone she knows?
Want to do anything dangerous?
It's not even one guy, it's everybody.
There are some things.
I'm sorry, who are you?
There are some very potent elements here. Also, this statue. Its removal from Burma is a criminal offense, and when triggered, has the power to melt human eyeballs.
In that case, I severely underpriced it.
This is just for the duration of our stay. I think you can see why.
What?
We're going to have to ask you to leave. The store is closing early today.
Bring our money back!
I hate all these squares.
It's just for the duration of the council's review.
Sounds to me like you're being petty.
Miss, excuse me. You work here?
Yes, I do. Ever since I moved here from southeastern Indiana, where I was raised by both a mother and a father.
Used to be one of us.
You used to pay me. I recall firing me. It was not my idea.
Touche. We've discovered information about this creature, your glory. Some of it is clearly vital. The rest, merely extremely disturbing. And it won't be handed over until we are convinced that you and your slayer are prepared for it. It's a check of her methods. We need to know that this information is safe.
She's acquired a remarkable focus.
Now, Rasputin was associated. They held the tenet that in order to be forgiven, one first had to sin. Rasputin embraced this doctrine and proceeded to sin impressively and repeatedly. The notion that he was in fact evil gained strength years later when the conspirators who set out to kill him found it nearly impossible to do so.
Nearly impossible?
Miss Summers, of course.
About, killing him. They poisoned him and they beat him and shot him and he didn't die.
Does Rasputin matter to the plot?
There are reported sightings of him as late as the 1930s, aren't there?
Is Rasputin a vampire?
I'm only saying, it might be interesting if we came at it from, a different perspective, that's all.
Well, I'm sorry if you find these facts so boring. Believe it or not, we're interested in finding out what actually happened. It's called studying history. You can sit down now. Unless you have something else to add, Professor?
God, what a piece of shit.
Miss Summers. Some of us are here to learn, Professor.
Oh boy. There's also like a emotional state, being frustrated over other shit. Not a good time. Hi Spike. What's up, homie?
Why did you do that?
Not for money, if that's what you're thinking. Your heartfelt gratitude's plenty.
Gratitude. For getting in my way?
Getting in your way? I saved you.
He's getting a lot more hand now that she's single.
I never need you, Spike.
You just don't like you did the rescuing, that's all. Wishing I was your boyfriend. What's his height? Oh, wait, he's run off.
You know what? I don't need a boyfriend to rescue me or for any other reason.
No, maybe that's your problem. Maybe push him away. Or is it the other? Maybe cling too much. Or maybe your beauty's fading. The stress of slaying, aging you prematurely.
The more I get to know you, the more I wish I didn't.
Or maybe you just don't hold their interest.
Okay, hi. Who are you, Mr. Doctor Man? Can we know a little bit more about you guys?
Crusty, what do you want? Oh, not me. She wants more information on the Slayer. She knows you know her. Buffy something?
Buffy Summers is the Slayer?
That's the one. Very clever of you, sir.
How does Glory know this?
I do not know. I was not there. But the beauteous Glory said for you to tell us, please, where her dwelling is.
Oh boy.
Who her friends are.
Why would I do that?
I don't know, sir. She just said to tell you to do it for her. That was her message.
I've got a message for Glory, too.
Bad day. Bad.
Miss Summers.
It's a terrible fucking day.
I understand you're still taking civilians out on your patrols.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
The Council fights evil. The Slayer is the instrument by which we fight. The Council remains, the Slayers change. Been that way from the beginning.
Well, it's a very comforting, bloodless way of looking at it, isn't it?
Let me talk to Buffy, because I think she's understanding me. Glory is
her expression.
We can help you. We have information that will help.
Okay.
Pass the review and we give it to you without reservation. Fail the review, either through incompetence or by resisting our recommendations.
Resisting your recommendations? She fails if we don't do whatever you say. She's not your bloody instrument and you have no right to do any of this.
Giles.
But obviously, we could shut this place down permanently.
You can't do that. You don't have that kind of power.
Of course we do, and a great deal more. In fact, if you insist on fighting us, we'll arrange to have Mr. Giles deported within the day.
So it's blackmail. That's what we're doing today.
But you're dealing with grown-ups now. Am I making myself clear?
God, sometimes it really feels like I just want to go I have the power to kill every single person in this room, right? Just flip it over on them.
What's the deal with your face?
It's a message from Ben.
What's the Ben? Okay.
I have
business to do with her. If she knows where I can start looking for my key, ah! Why won't he help? It drives me insane. You know what I mean?
He drives you insane?
That's it exactly. Sweet, lumpy minion. You're the only one that understands.
Probably because I haven't sucked your brain out yet.
Are they mind flayers? Like, sucking brains into, like, devouring?
Am I gonna be able to get through this review?
I suppose they'll make it as difficult as they want to.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're setting up some kind of plan to, like, murder Buffy. It's just like, this Slayer doesn't work, let's fucking murder her and get a new one. That's something I've been thinking about since, like, last season, or, like, 2 seasons ago.
And I haven't been able to figure out what she is or anything about her except that she wants the key, which I have, and I can't even figure out if it's okay for me to tell anyone that. They're gonna expect me to be like a Slayer and know stuff, but I'm just me and I don't know anything, and they're gonna go away and they're not gonna tell me how to fight Glory, and I'm not gonna be able to protect Dawn.
Buffy.
You're saying a lot of things, and I'm afraid that they're listening.
It's not anything you've done wrong, it's the way they're behaving. Holding what they know hostage with a gun pointed at my bleeding green card, no less. It's humiliating.
Also smart. They picked the perfect thing.
Mm.
I can't lose you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Anya Christina Emanuela Jenkins, 20 years old, born on the 4th of July.
Oh
And don't
my
think
God.
there weren't jokes about that my whole life, mister, because there were.
I need to know a little bit more about the Slayer and about the both of you. Your relationship, whatever you can tell me.
Our relationship? We're friends. Good friends.
Girlfriends, actually.
Yes, we're girlfriends. We're in love. Lovers. We're lesbian, gay type lovers.
I meant your relationship with the Slayer.
3 of us have been together from the beginning. We've always gone on patrols and done demon research with her and everything.
Have you mastered any fighting disciplines over the years?
No. So, last year, Willow, Giles, and me combined our essence with Buffy, which isn't as weird as it sounds.
Oh.
We merged, and I was the heart part of a super Buffy.
I don't know if we should say this.
No, she doesn't need help. She'd be fine without us. Sometimes she goes off and does stuff without even telling us. Not that she's like a weird loner or anything. We can help because we do magics. I'm working on this ball of sunshine thing. See, I have this theory. It's very cool.
What level are you at?
Level?
Magical proficiency level.
Oh, high level. Very high. 5.
Like, why would...
You're registered as practicing witches under the names as you gave them to me?
Registered? Oh, yes, of course, we're registered.
Sounds demony to me. I don't hold with that demon nonsense. Muffin?
The vampires in this town hate her.
But we understand that you help the Slayer.
Oh.
Come to think of it, though, that's a bit scandalous, isn't it? Personally, I'm shocked. The girl's slipping.
Noticed a decline in her work.
Oh my God.
A few more disappointments should be crying on my shoulder, mark my words.
Oh my
Is that
God.
what you want? I'd think you'd want to kill her. You've killed Slayers before.
Heard of me, have you?
I wrote my thesis on you.
Oh my God. A fangirl. She's the only one of these watchers that has shown an emotion.
Philip will attack the dummy. The Slayer's job is to protect it. Listening to my instructions at the same time, that will demonstrate clarity, and stamina and strength will win the long fight.
Instructions?
We assume you're familiar with the Japanese names for Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu moves.
Japanese?
Shomen nide.
Huh?
He wants you to bow.
God, what the fuck is this? There's like no reason for it to be this convoluted.
Ushiro geri empiuchi.
Back kick. Elbow. Elbow. Strike.
How have you been training her?
I've trained her to win.
I'm gonna have to do it my way, guys.
Hit the dummy.
I think she just broke my rib.
Yes, well.
I didn't mean to. You know, I can do better.
I don't think we need to see any more physical tests for a while. Look into your strategies, plans. Figure out what's going on in that head.
Good. Head stuff.
Yeah. I like her being more concerned about head stuff than about physical. That's kind of her thing. Yeah, I deal with all my problems by punching them, but everything here is a mess. Too emotional. Okay. Hi.
Long day, sweetie?
I was thinking that might happen. Okay.
So cute. This is good for you. It's so quaint.
Buffy, if I wanted to fight, you could tell by the being dead already.
I like how she just teleported there.
I think you know where it is. And that's a good thing.
She might threaten Joyce, and maybe Dawn
You're a
will.
bug. You should get down on your knees and worship me. Isn't?
She knows Dawn is
I
there.
could crush
There's no way
the
she
life from
doesn't.
you as easy as you'd break a nail.
There you
Kid,
go.
come here a sec. You are just the darlingest thing I ever did see in my life.
Oh boy.
Did you know your sister took my key, Donnie, and she won't give it back? I bet you know where she put it, don't you?
She doesn't know anything.
I know some stuff. I bet she takes your stuff all the time without asking, doesn't she? Where's my key, Don?
Go upstairs, Dawn.
You're always talking about stuff I'm not supposed to hear. I'm gonna figure it out, you know.
Ooh, I like her. She's sassy. And I'll kill her.
Yeah.
I'll kill your mom. I'll kill your friends. And I'll make you watch when I die. Obviously, this is a one-time only deal. Next time we meet, something you love dies bloody.
Did you
Buffy,
hear
who
that?
was that? Pack a bag.
We're running.
For a second there, I was worried.
Are they gonna come? Yeah, they're coming here.
So, what's with the family outing?
I need your help.
Great, I need your cash.
I'm serious. You have to look after them.
We need them.
That's a boatload of manly responsibility to come flying out of nowhere. What's the matter, Slayer? Funny opinion.
Spike, I need an answer now. In or out. You're the only one strong enough to protect them.
All right, then.
Come on in.
There's plenty of blood in the fridge.
Keep Dawn here as long as you can. I'll be back soon.
Okay.
All right.
I love what you've neglected to do with the place.
That's such a good line.
Don't make a lot of noise. Passions is coming on.
Passions? Oh, do you think Timmy's really dead?
Oh, no. She can just sew him back together. He's a doll, for God's sake.
What about the wedding?
Oh
I mean,
my
there's
god.
no way.
Oh, this is great. This is awesome.
Your Slayer is 20 minutes late and counting, Rupert.
Buffy will be here, I assure you.
And is it the Doctor Man or is this the Council? Why do you have armor? Is this like another test, or are they deliberately sabotaging her? Like, it has to be the Council. Why else would they be wearing fucking chainmail armor and these weapons? Like,
Okay, let's see what you are.
One soldier in a vast army.
okay, man.
Knights of Byzantium, an ancient order, and now your enemy.
What?
You work for Glory?
You think we ally ourselves with the beast?
Okay, you know something?
But if it takes 100 men, we send 100 men, and if it takes 1,000, we send 1,000. So long as you protect the key, the Brotherhood will never stop until we destroy it and you.
Okay, that's...
Be done with it. Kill us and let legions follow.
No, you know stuff. Give me information.
Go.
Okay. I mean, we learned a lot then. I feel like I learned a lot. So, I feel like Dawn has to die in order for us to be all safe. That's why there's a whole cult about her.
There isn't gonna be a review.
Sorry.
Okay.
No interrogation. No questions you know I can't answer.
Mm.
No hoops. No jumps. No interruptions. See, I've had a lot of people talking at me the last few days.
Okay.
Everyone just lining up to tell me how unimportant I am. And I finally figured out why. Power. I have it. They don't. This bothers them. Glory came to my home today.
Buffy, are you...
Just to talk. Told me I'm a bug, I'm a flea. She could squash me in a second. Only she didn't. She came into my home, and we talked. Why? Because she needs something from me. Because I have power over her.
Okay.
You guys didn't come all the way from England to determine whether or not I was good enough to be let back in. You came to beg me to let you back in, to give your jobs, your lives, some semblance of meaning.
This is beyond influence.
Is this the start of the Dark Buffy arc? Is this why we're wearing black today?
That was excellent.
Without a Slayer, you're pretty much just watching Masterpiece Theater. You can't stop Glory. You can't do anything with the information you have except maybe publish it in the Everyone Thinks We're Insano's home journal. So here's how it's gonna work. You're gonna tell me everything you know, then you're gonna go away. You'll contact me if and when you have any further information about Glory. The magic shop will remain open. Mr. Giles will stay here as my official watcher, reinstated at full salary.
Retroactive.
I will continue my work with the help of my friends.
Civilians, we're talking about children.
We're talking about 2 very powerful witches and a 1,000-year-old ex-demon.
Willow's a demon?
The boy? No power there.
The boy's clocked more field time than all of you combined. He's part of the unit.
That's a point.
You all may be very good at your jobs. The only way we're gonna find out is if you work with me. You can all take your time thinking about that.
Okay, valid.
But I want an answer right now from Quentin, because I think he's understanding me.
Your terms are acceptable.
It worked? I didn't think it would.
When we inventoried your shop, found a bottle of single malt scotch.
It's not, during working hours.
I think I could use a glass.
Yeah.
Glory, I want to know.
Please.
Well, there's a lot to go through.
Okay.
Just tell me what kind of demon I'm fighting.
Glory isn't a demon.
God.
What is she?
She's a god.
Okay. Of course.
Oh.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer has become a JRPG. Okay, so despite that episode not being much of a... How do I say it? Like, I feel like the focus of the episode was mostly on, like, the friction with the Council of Watchers. But I feel like that episode actually had enough, like, little things for me to grasp on and start just, like, throwing darts and trying to hit something. So, okay, I'm going to be doing that now. But there's also a lot to talk about regarding the council and Buffy herself. But okay, first of all, right at the very end, they just fucking threw in the Knights of the Vicentium or whatever, this ancient secret order. I do have to say, Buffy girl, like, you had someone that had information for you. You could have interrogated him, and I understand that he seemed like a devout, like, knight, and he was willing to just die there, so he was, like, completely dedicated to the cause. So I guess on some level he probably wouldn't have talked, but you could have at least tried. You could have tried to be like, okay, hear me out. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know who the beast is or whatever. I don't know anything. So why don't you tell me, and maybe we can do something together, right? Like try to negotiate with the man. But she didn't do that. She was just like, all right, go. And then he left. The only thing I can think about is that, like, maybe Buffy was thinking, like, oh shit, I'm late for the Watcher shit, so I have to just go as soon as possible. So yeah, fuck this guy, just leave, and then I'll just figure out based on whatever little clues he gave me, which is the Knights of the Vicentium and the Beast. More importantly for me, what they said is, so long as you protect the key, like, we're gonna be coming after you or whatever, or you're an enemy of the order or something. So, okay, couple of things. This is creating a third group, which may already be something that we have already seen a third group before, in the form of Ben, the doctor. So what I'm thinking is that maybe, hear me out, because right at the very end of the episode, they actually dropped the, I guess, I don't know how much impact this can have on, like, the audience, but they were like, oh, Glory is actually a god. And that was the, like, cliffhanger end. But, like, I'm watching it, I'm like, as they said, as I read the subtitle for not a demon, I was like, oh, it's a god. And then they said it, and I was just like, yeah. I played enough Japanese RPGs to be used to this shit. Like, and it's funny because I was thinking about it because I edited a little bit of the episode already, because I'm recording this portion where I discuss the episode, like, a little bit later. So I was watching that and I was, like, thinking, is this like maybe based? Is this maybe different depending on who the audience is who's watching this, and maybe that's like also a cultural thing? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it's like maybe I can imagine that like some like Christian Americans who are just not really used to this kind of stuff, they might look at it and be like, oh my god, it's a god or something, and I'm just looking at it like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected already. Like I in my head, one of the theories I threw, it was like, oh, that's Satan or whatever, because they refer to her as the beast. So, or the subtitle referred to her as the beast, which I guess was a small spoiler, but it's been mentioned now, so whatever. But like, yeah, like I was already expecting a god tier like entity to be what we're dealing with this season. So that word reveal wasn't really impactful for me because it doesn't really hold any meaning. I suppose like the idea of a god in a world where there is deities are real. You have to ask the next question, which is, okay, what is a deity? Like, how do we define a deity? Like, what is a god? And whenever you start asking those questions, the moment that we define a god as something that exists, the mythos of God becomes less impressive because we have to establish like certain rules as to how the god quote unquote works instead of just this all being. The idea of God, and God being a nebulous term, the only way in which that becomes something that is like terrifying is whenever we assign it to an entity that is the world itself, an entity that created everything and everything is also part of it. So whenever that is the case, you start going, okay, now that is terrifying. But if we're defining God as like some entity that has like above human like qualities, and maybe they are eternal, immortal, some kind of like power over a specific domain, that becomes less impressive. At that point, it's just another term to refer to another supernatural being like a vampire or a werewolf, and we deal with those like weekly, so we're good, we're covered on that front. Glory seems to be above that because she's an actual issue, and she seems to be one of the biggest threats we've ever had, if not the biggest, placing her at the top of the like chain of people we have discovered so far. But she's not in a like completely unreachable like state. It's something that Buffy also mentioned during her like monologue, I guess, or like near the end of the episode, and we're gonna be talking about that in a second. But something she mentioned is like, oh, I thought that she had power over me, but she doesn't. Actually, I have power over her because I have information that she doesn't know. That's why she resorts to threats. That's why she resorts to just leaving me alive or whatever. It's the idea that Glory is not all-knowing and almighty. There is limits to whatever she is capable of. Therefore, her status as a god isn't really that impressive. Unless, and this is kind of what I'm assuming is going to happen on some level, is that the key is a way for her to regain what was lost or something like that. And if that is the case, then sure, that could be very intimidating. But also, I don't know what her god status restore would even be like anyway. So unless it reaches to that like existential crisis of like an entity that is everything, it's not really that terrifying. However, what could be terrifying is just the innate fear that we usually don't have in the show, but we should have if the show was realistic. Like the entire time the show has ran, there's always the possibility that like Willow could just be stabbed in the brain and decapitated or whatever, right? Like that is something that could happen. We have had monsters that can easily do that. Xander could just die. Willow could just die. Joyce could just die. This is something that has always been present in the show in the terms of like something that could plausibly happen just based on the facts that we have. However, the reason why that doesn't happen is because the show has kind of a tone. The show has a vibe. The show is going for something more similar to power of friendship, coming of age, you know? So we have all of these characters who are these teenagers who are in situations where they shouldn't be in, but they still are a part of it, and they overcome, they succeed, they manage to save the day. And that is even something that the watchers put into question this episode. They asked about Xander of like, you know, he's just a kid. Like, what the fuck is he bring to the table? He doesn't even know how to fight or anything. And Buffy counters with, he's been through many more fights than any of y'all combined. Like, he has proved his worth by being actively on the battlefield and helping out that way. And that is true. Like, that is a big point. He has more field experience than anyone here. Arguably, he has more knowledge than everyone there. Maybe not the specific fields that they expertise themselves in, but he has field knowledge, which is very important. He also was an army man for like a little, so he has a little bit of army man knowledge, I guess. So I guess that could come in handy. We've forgotten about that for season staff, but that is something that could, you know, come back. Circling back to the fear of what might happen, is that I am not afraid of Glory in like an existential manner of like, you know, what is a god capable of, or what is a god just in general. But I am afraid of what Glory could do in the same way that I am afraid that any enemy could do in the show. The only difference is that I feel like this season has set itself up to have a bigger likelihood of like tragedy happening. I don't know if that will happen, but I feel like this is a season that has laid the groundwork for that, especially with Joyce. I will come back to what I said a couple episodes ago. Feel like Joyce is fucking dead. Like, I feel like Joyce died already, and I'm just watching her ghost walk around. And I don't mean that literally. I mean that more so that I feel like this show has already told me we are going to kill Joyce off. And I feel like I'm just waiting for that to happen. That's kind of the point where I'm at. Because that scene, I mean, the entire ordeal of Joyce having her brain tumor and all the like, all the stress and fear that was put into you when you were watching that, put into Buffy, put into everybody, like that was real. And it would kind of be a waste for that to not go anywhere. And more importantly, there was that one scene before she goes into surgery. She has this like one scene between her and Buffy where they're talking to each other. They talk about Dawn and how Joyce sees her as not real or whatever and asks for confirmation. But at the same time, Joyce kind of hugs Buffy and goes, "Oh, my brave Buffy." Like, it is this chilling scene because I was watching that and it felt like a goodbye. It felt like Joyce wasn't going to make it out of that surgery. And then she did. And since that moment happened, I've just been sitting here like, I don't believe that. Or rather, I do believe that she survived the surgery. I don't believe she's going to survive the season. And that's why when that happened, I said, I feel like there's zero chance she's going to survive the season. I started with the season, and then I said, maybe this episode. But then I was like, no, she's fine. Okay, the season. She's going to die at some point. And I feel like grabbing that whole arc with Joyce and grabbing whatever is happening with Glory now, I think Glory is going to kill Joyce. Maybe won't stop just at Joyce, but I feel like she is definitely going to kill Joyce. That's where I'm at. And something that could happen, and it would be tragic, is that she's going to kill Joyce and she's not even going to have a goodbye with Buffy because they already had their goodbye. They already had that scene. So I feel like if she dies, she's going to die tragically, not even being able to have a final conversation with Buffy. And that would just enhance the pain because they already had that. They already had that goodbye scene. So we don't need another one. So yeah, fuck it. Just make it even more tragic. Why not? So that is the fear of Glory. The fear of Glory has nothing to do with her status as a god. The fear of Glory has everything to do with the fact that she could just murder your family the way that anyone could. This is kind of taking me back to Spike here, because there was one scene where Buffy, in fear, or rather not in fear, but in like determination of trying to protect her family, she was like, okay, they need to be in somewhere safe. And then she goes, what is a place where I could plausibly put them in? And she was like, Spike. I guess Spike. We have a weird, contentious relationship, but she also, at this point, she understands that Spike is deeply infatuated with her. There was that one episode where he tried to kiss her, and I feel like since that moment, Buffy has been like, oh, he's my simp now. Okay, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Fuck that guy. He's weird as hell. But he does know how to punch people. So I guess I'm gonna use that as leverage to just ask him for a favor, because I'm kind of desperate here. So she goes to Spike's lair and puts Joyce and Dawn in there. I was a big fan of how immediately they start watching, like, I don't know what the fuck they were watching. Passions? I don't know what that is. I'm not American. Some kind of soap opera or whatever. And then they just start fangirling over it. Like, both, like, immediately. Not even one bit skip. They were like, oh, Passions is coming on. And then Joyce is like, oh, what do you think is going to happen? And it's like, oh, clearly this is what's going to... It's like, oh my god, that was so cool. And then Dawn was like, what the fuck am I doing here? And then she just walks off screen. That was very funny. I really enjoyed that. But it was also a very small moment of seeing, like, Spike being kind of... I don't know if genuine is the right word. I don't know if he's capable of being genuine. I mean, he is. It has happened, like, once before. But it was really nice how Buffy was like, shut the fuck up. This is serious. Are you going to do it or not? And then Spike was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And that was cool. I like whenever I see Spike not being a piece of shit, because it's like the facade of the bad boy kind of like retracts a little bit and he just talks like a normal person. It's nice. It's nice whenever we get to see that. Anyway, what I was gonna say is that I don't know if Spike is gonna be able to protect them. First of all, because he always loses to Buffy. We have had a track history of him always losing to Buffy. So if that is the case, then we have a power tier system, and Buffy cannot beat Glory. Then why the fuck would Spike be able to beat Glory? I know he has a job, but it's not even guaranteed that he will succeed. And even beyond that, he has a chip in his brain. And I know that the chip allows him to, you know, punch demons or whatever. Glory ain't a demon. And I don't know how the chip will work with gods. So maybe the chip is actually going to stop him from actually fighting because it detects that it's kind of like a human entity. So as a result, then Spike is going to go, oh, I'm going to try to fight, and then he can't. And then he's just going to have a headache on the floor going, no, as Glory just walks in and kills Joyce, takes Dawn, whatever might happen. And I actually think that that would be great drama for actually Buffy and Spike as well. Because first of all, Buffy's gonna have a dead mother. We have had episodes telling us how impactful that would be. And just, you don't need that. You don't need the show to tell you that, but that would be a big deal for someone. But it would also kind of be a big deal for Spike because Spike had one job. Buffy entrusted him with one thing. All Spike wanted was like an acknowledgement from Buffy. He got his one chance and he fails at it. And he fails in such a manner where he's not allowed to do anything. He's not allowed to fight, which is the only thing he's good for. The only thing he desires to do. He can't do it, and instead he just has to sit there and watch it happen. And then there will be friction between the two of them because Buffy was like, oh, you fucking filmed me, you piece of shit. And Spike would be like, I couldn't. And maybe it would be a moment of like genuine facade breaking, of like actual showing genuine emotion of like, I didn't want that to happen. And Buffy would maybe kind of understand. Like, that would be kind of cool. It would be kind of cool. Like, whenever we get to see characters showing, expressing genuine emotion and then having some kind of friction or interaction regarding that, that's fun. It's good. So that's what I'm thinking. However, as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that Glory has said, I will murder everyone you love and I'll make you watch. That's something she did say. So maybe she won't kill Joyce while Buffy isn't there. Maybe she'll just kill maybe she'll just kidnap Joyce and then kill her in front of Buffy. Maybe she'll do that. Anyway, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Circle back to the Knights of the Byzantium or whatever. Third group. I'm thinking that they maybe are related to Ben, the Doctor, because we know that there's three groups. We have our main character group, and we can argue the Watchers are part of the main character group or whatever. For now, I'm just for the sake of this one discussion. Then we have a Glory, and then we have Ben. And the only reason why we say that they are not together is because Glory was doing shit to people by eating their brains. We get confirmation in this episode that she is eating their brains. She's a mind flayer, which, like, in D&D terms, a mind flayer is pretty terrifying. I played Baldur's Gate 3, I know what they're about. Never trust a Mind Flayer. Fuck the Emperor. Actually, there was one Mind Flayer that was kind of cool. I think his name was Omolum or something like that. Olum. In like Act 1, in like the Underdark. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Ben was shown, when it was revealed that he had some kind of entity that wasn't just a normal human. It was revealed by telling us that he was cleaning up after Glory's messes, as he always does. Okay, because we also got to see the fact that the people going crazy happen every couple hundred years or something, happen over and over again. And then immediately something would happen where they would, some kind of meteorite would fall, and then those people would be quelled, would be pacified, which I guess would just be killed. So based on that lore, what we know is Glory and Ben are two entities that are maybe immortal. At least they have lived a long life. Over the ages, Glory eats people. Like, she just comes out of her hole or whatever and just eats people's brains. And then Ben is someone who summons a Queller demon in a meteorite to come and kill those people for some reason. And something that I did theorize when that happened is like the minion was asking him, like, why did you do that? Doesn't that draw more attention to the fact? And then that implies that whatever would have happened to those people, or whatever they would have said or seen or something, it would be better for them to just be dead in order to keep secrecy over that. And that's an assumption, but that's what I thought. So what I thought was, okay, people that get their brains eaten are marked in some kind of a special way that would be detrimental to the grander plan of at least Ben, maybe Glory as well. I don't know what the relationship between Ben and Glory is, but it's somewhat antagonistic, but I'm not sure how antagonistic. Maybe they are like, I don't know, like demigod siblings, and the siblings, they don't really get along with each other very well. You know what? They're siblings. That's my prediction. They're siblings because that would tie in thematically with Buffy and Dawn. And if this is the season that is about actual siblings and relationship between siblings, they are a mirror and also a foil. So that's my prediction. They are siblings. They are demigod siblings that are kind of working towards the same goal, but they don't talk to each other and they don't want to deal with one another. They just kind of tolerate each other. And they both know that they have to go towards this direction, but they don't necessarily agree with the way they go around it. Maybe that's why Ben is a doctor. Maybe he also has to eat brains, but he only eats the brains of people that are gonna die or something, or people that he can provide bad care and kill them in the hospital. And then he just goes like, I don't know, they died. Like, I couldn't save them. I'm sorry. Like, people die in hospitals all the time. So he can just be like, okay, I can't save this person. Time to eat up. And then just eats their brain. And then there's nothing. Like, it's fine. Like, there's no harm being done. He just eats the people that were going to die anyway. Or maybe he eats people and then he can mask as being dead due to normal causes. One or the other, whatever it is. So maybe that's why he's a doctor. Fucking Chocolata over here. So maybe they don't agree in the way that they go around it, in the sense that, so maybe Ben eats people's brains in like a subtle way where people are not going to notice. Well, Glory just goes around, kidnaps whoever, and just eats their brains, and then she just sends them off, and it's like, whatever, who gives a shit? It's not my problem. And then Ben is like, oh my fucking god, this girl, always just doing whatever she fucking wants, never giving a fuck about keeping secrecy. So maybe that is the relationship. Is they're antagonistic in the sense that both of them are doing the same thing, and they are related, but they fundamentally disagree in the way they go around. But they fundamentally disagree in the way they go about it, because maybe Ben is a little bit more reserved and more smart. Well, Glory is someone who kind of doesn't give a shit. She sees herself as above everyone, so she just wants to live a loud life where she just does whatever the fuck she wants, and whoever says no to that, fuck him, I'll eat him. Because we know that she's very superficial. We know that she cares a lot about her image and herself. So that would make sense to me. That would actually make sense to me. So now that we have the Nicest of Vicentium, I'm thinking, are they connected to Ben? Or are they not? if they are connected to Ben, then maybe their relationship, like Ben and Glory's relationship, is way more antagonistic than I thought. Maybe they're more like competing against each other. Maybe they're rivals. Maybe they're both trying to attain the same thing and only one of them can get it, something like that. Because like they don't actively go out and just like kill each other. Like we've never seen them actually fight. And they have been around for ages at this point, I think. So if that's the case, then I have to assume that there is a level of like not actively at each other's throats, just like passively maybe at each other's throats. That is the extent that it can reach. So I'm thinking that if they are related to Ben, then they are kind of like nemesis in the sense that maybe they are just rivals to each other. And so both of them have their own like minions that they have created. And maybe the Knights of the Vicentium are related to Ben, and Ben just created those knights in order to fucking fight Glory. So they both want the key. However, there is a possibility that this is a fourth group. And I think that that would make kind of sense because the vibe I got from these knights is that they want to destroy the key so that the beast doesn't get it. And if that's the case, then okay, it starts to get a little bit more complicated and it starts to look a little bit more grim for Buffy. Because what will happen then is that there is a couple of different groups that are trying to do something different and they all need the key, and it's either I want to get the key in order to ascend to become real god or whatever Glory is going to do, maybe even Ben, Buffy who's trying to protect the key because she's my sister. And I will say that at this point, I don't think that she's protecting the key because it's her duty or whatever. I think she's genuinely protecting the key because it's Dawn, because it's her sister. Like, that's it. It's not about, you know, fighting to protect like, the thing that I was assigned to protect. Like, this isn't my job. It's like, no, this is my family. That's why I protect her. And then you have a group that showed up now, which is, I feel like they are trying to destroy the key. Because when the key is destroyed, then maybe the beast is not able to get it, and therefore she can never attain her place in prophecy as a super god or whatever bullshit might happen. That is the vibe I'm getting. Because this Knight of the Vicentian said, as long as you protect the key, the Brotherhood will never stop. That means as long as you protect the key. That sounds like it could just be like, as long as it is in your custody, we'll keep coming. But it also could be interpreted as, if you change your mind and decide to destroy it, we'll be like, okay, that's the way I interpreted that. And if that's the case, then, oh boy, Buffy is gonna have to fight people on two fronts. Because everyone is out to get her sister for one way or another, for sacrificial purposes or for like murder purposes. And she's like, she's my sister, right? Like, that's it. It's so simple for her. But everyone is out to get her, and that's fucked up. That's fucked up. I don't know what she's gonna do. Okay. I talked so much in this episode, and I haven't even talked about the council yet. And that will continue to happen, because I have a new theory. New theory alarm. Grigory Rasputin. Russia's greatest love machine. What is his role in this story? And he might not have one, because everything that I'm about to say is based on practically nothing. And yet, the show spent an amount of time that it would be unwise to ignore talking about Rasputin. Like, am I crazy? Like, is Rasputin something that happened in a previous episode that I just forgot because it was like season 2, episode 5 or whatever? Was that the Frankenstein episode? Did I just sniper shot that one? Or was this episode 3 of season 2? Doesn't matter. The point is, Rasputin has been mentioned. And not just mentioned, they talked about it for a long time, and they talked about it in such a manner that it makes you want to believe that Rasputin will be important. To the point that if he doesn't become important, I am questioning my sanity as to whether Rasputin was already real in the past and I just forgot in a previous episode, or they're fucking with me. Because the way that they talk about Rasputin was, the history professor was saying like, oh yeah, all this happened. And then Buffy was like, well, I was just wondering, because what if he didn't die? You know, because there were sightings of him like all the way like decades later. So, you know, maybe he was still around. And it makes sense for Buffy to have more of an open mind on this regard, because Buffy constantly encounters supernatural threats that she's like, well, maybe this like weird man who just was allegedly unkillable, then maybe he was a supernatural entity, so maybe he survived even the drowning. Like maybe he's fine, he's just roaming around. So she's like positing that kind of as an hypothetical of like, wouldn't it be cool, wouldn't it be interesting if this is what happened? And then they all mock her for it, right? And the way that scene goes is that it makes you think like, oh damn, like Buffy's life is rough, you know, people are making fun of him, her professor is a fucking piece of shit, like everyone is laughing at her, and then she comes back and then she goes back to the shop and it's like, oh, now I have to deal with the council, and Buffy's like, oh my fucking god, I hate my life. So and not just that, but they're also like belittling her, which is important to what we're going to talk about. As I'm saving this for the end of the discussion, but we're going to be talking about her monologue at the end. But that entire conversation was what everything they said was said in such a manner where I'm sitting here thinking like, is Ben Rasputin? Or like, is Rasputin like a thing that will show up or has showed up and I just like, have we seen Rasputin before? I want to look it up on Google, but I'm not going to do it because, you know, like that would be huge spoiler territory if Rasputin is a pivotal part of season 5. So please let me know if Rasputin was present in a previous episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You don't have to tell me anything else. Just let me know, was Rasputin in a previous episode of Buffy? Because if it wasn't, now I'm pivoting my entire, like, what I'm expecting in season 5 into, like, okay, Ben is Rasputin. Or, like, I don't know, some other, and like, there is a third guy, maybe that, a fourth group, which is the Knights of the Byzantium, led by Rasputin, the third demigod brother that is at odds with both Glory and Ben. This theory is getting unhinged, but it's kind of where I'm going. Anyway, that's all I got. Like, really, like, I have nothing more to add to this Rasputin theory other than essentially what Buffy's saying, which is like, wouldn't it be interesting if Rasputin just showed up and he was the main antagonist? It's like, yeah, it would be. That's all I got. I don't really have anything to tell you as to why that would be the case, other than just by the rules of storytelling, having Buffy spend like we have a significant amount of time in that scene when they are at college with Buffy talking about Rasputin. In order for it to be, it would be crazy if that didn't come back in some manner, because this scene goes on for, I'm counting, it goes on for over 2 minutes, or like just 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes is a significant amount of time for a scene that doesn't matter, right? So the fact that they talk about Rasputin and Buffy just keeps going about like, you know, like, well, he used to be around, there were sightings of him or whatever, and it's like, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's how, I think he's fucking dead, Buffy, in the real world. But in Buffy's world, she might be onto something. I don't know why I feel like I have a vague memory of Rasputin mattering in Buffy. So like I'm sitting here thinking like, has that shown up before in a previous episode? Am I fucking crazy? I think I'm just thinking about Doctor Who. Rasputin didn't show up in Doctor Who recently, but the Master was cosplaying as Rasputin during the Power of the Doctor, which is one of my favorite videos I've ever made on the channel. I love that reaction. I had laughs, I had cries, I had like the entire gamut of emotion. I was just going through it, and I was like very simplified for that entire video. I love the Power of the Doctor episode. I love my reaction of it. It's I love everything about it. But yeah, anyway, Bonnie M is a good band. Okay, let's talk about the council. The council shows up, and they're all very mean. I did enjoy the sequence where they're all asking questions to Anya, Sander, Willow, Tara, and then Spike. They're all asking questions, interrogating them of like, you know, experiences with Buffy. What do y'all do? Like, I did like that scene because it was just kind of funny and goofy, which I guess took away some of like the frustration of the episode, but I still feel very frustrated. That's something about me that's weird, is that like sometimes the show is presenting something frustrating to me, but the characters are having like funny quips, and I'm sitting here like arms crossed, just being like, this is not time for laughing. I feel like shit right now because I hate these people and I hate what they're doing. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But there were some good lines, but there were some funny lines that I was just like completely just like tired of this fucking council bullshit in order to like react and laugh at it. But you know, I tried. The thing about this council, a bunch of people showed up. one of the council members was this like girl who like she made her theses on like Spike, so she was like kind of a little bit fangirling over him. That was kind of funny. I enjoyed that. There was a moment where they made Buffy like fight using Japanese Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu like technique call signs, and it's like, who the brother, what the fuck? Like, I understand that they're expecting like Giles to have given her like a particular like martial arts like training regimen, so she would be at least somewhat familiar with it. But it's like, first of all, no, and second of all, that doesn't matter, right? And third, the training was for the what the fuck was his name? Quentin to give Buffy commands while she's blindfolded in order to do stuff, and it's like, how would that help? Why is this training? And I know it's not training, it's a test, but it's like, why would this matter ever? And it's not even like, why give instructions in Japanese? I understand because there is such a thing as like in martial arts and they're like more traditional Japanese. I understand that there's this like at the beginning you bow and there's like this specific calls in order to determine like to kind of divide the segments of the sport because it is treated as a sport. The fact that Quentin was like, okay, I am gonna instruct you how to win the fight in Japanese while you're blindfolded, it's like, that's not what this is for. That's not what this is. It felt petty. It felt like he was just actively trying to fuck with her. And I don't know if he was. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But it was just so random to me. Anyway, something that is important to point out about Buffy and about the council. And this all comes to this final like monologue that Buffy has at the end of the episode. And I do want to say that this monologue of Buffy is one that I sat there thinking about. And like I kind of went places with it as it was happening. And then after I watched the episode, I kept thinking about it. And I don't know where to land with it. I just straight up don't know where to land with it. And this is something that I actually do want to like kind of bring up as a point of discussion. And in fear of stirring up some kind of hornet's nest. But Buffy has this monologue where she essentially goes off on this idea of power. And her position is one where she has power over all of these people and all of these groups that are trying really hard to convince her that she doesn't. She says that over the past few days, a lot of people have seemed to be really trying to hammer on the idea that she doesn't matter, that she is insignificant, that she is weak. And then she realizes, you know what? Fuck all of you. I have power. And that's the reason why I keep getting involved with all of you, because you're after me because of the fact that I have power. Glory is after me because she knows I have knowledge that she wants. Therefore, I hold power over her, and that's why she can't kill me. You guys, the Watcher Council, you are gonna give me the information I want because what the fuck are you guys doing otherwise? Like, she essentially just says this, and it's true, of like, what are you guys doing? Your entire purpose in life is to assist me. The fact that you guys think that you can just not assist me is fucking crazy, and you guys are fucking stupid and failing at your jobs. And you guys are going to help me. You guys are going to give me what I want, and you're going to do that thing. You're going to reinstate Giles. You're going to pay him. You're going to do all of the things in order to put everything back to right because I am telling you to. I hold power over you because you guys work for me. I don't work for you guys. You guys work for me because I'm the one that has power in this dynamic. You guys are a bunch of nerds. You guys have information. Cool. Who's out here fighting demons? That's me, babe. That's true. And yet, there is something about that monologue that felt off to me, that felt wrong. And I'm struggling to specifically like put Pierce exactly like what is this exact thing. And I want to preface this discussion by, I think that Buffy is coming from a place of inferiority and insecurity. That makes sense. Buffy is a late teen young woman. She's in that like awkward period of like just like 20-year-old who's just struggling to make their way into the world. Again, the show is kind of a coming of age show. So Buffy's in that specific point of I am struggling to become like a real adult in the world. I'm transitioning from a period of my life where everything was kind of preset into a period of my life where I'm gonna have to start taking charge. She is having that realization of people keep pushing me around, people keep telling me what to do, and I have reached a point where I've decided, because I have realized, correctly so, that I actually have power in this dynamic, maybe more than they do, and so I will command respect. Buffy is approaching this from that mentality, which is fine. I like that. I actually do like that a lot. And I do think that makes a lot of sense for her character. I feel like Buffy is very insecure, and now she's actually becoming more confident into who she is and what she's capable of and what her role should be. However, something that I'm hung up on, and this might not matter that much, but I still want to like bring it up because I think I think we can actually have a case here for why I feel awkward about it. And it's, remember when she had that conversation with Riley a couple episodes ago? And Riley was telling her exactly what happened in the relationship and why he felt the way that he felt. Riley told her, I don't feel like you want me. I don't feel like you need me. I feel like you're not giving me the like care and attention and love that I feel like I want. I feel like there is a void that needs to be needed and you're not giving me that. And Buffy's response was, is this about power? Is this because I'm stronger than you and you feel like I'm just better than you and that hurts your feelings? And when that happened, I was like, what is she saying? It's not that it doesn't make sense, because this was also something that we have discussed before with Riley, is that Riley was like, you know, he felt like he needed to be kind of a superhero, but I don't think he needed to be a superhero in order to be better than Buffy. I think he needed to be a superhero in order to feel like he belonged with Buffy. And I like that his response when Buffy said that, his response was, on some level, I do kind of feel that way, but that's not what I'm talking about. Like, that's not what this is. That's a different thing. And it's not what you're saying it is. So when Buffy in this episode brings up power and brings up the idea that, you know what, I am more important than all of you. And I'm going to do what I need to do and what I want to do. And you guys are going to help me because I'm telling you to. Fuck all of you. She's not wrong, but the way she arrived at that conclusion to me feels like maybe Buffy, and maybe I looked a little bit too hard into what was happening on screen, so much so that when she threw a sword at one of the washers that was about to yap, and then she was like, "Shut the fuck up," and threw a sword at him. First of all, very rude, but they were rude and intimidating to her, so kind of okay, it evens out. But something that she did do during that scene is that she had a white coat, and then she took off the white coat to reveal like a black undershirt. And in my head, I was like, is this her transitioning from good Buffy into like dark Buffy? Is that what we're doing? She's re-speaking from light into dark, and maybe that's what we're doing. Looking too hard into it, don't worry about it. But that's what I was thinking. And in my head, I was thinking like, is she arriving to this like, I feel like she's arriving to this like way of seeing the world, of approaching the world, where she is keeping power and power dynamics as something that is like a crucial part of the world. Like her worldview is built around that concept. And if that is the case, that's a really, really bad thing to do. That's a really scary thing to do, actually. Because like, I want to say that she's not wrong in reacting the way she did. And she's not wrong in what she's saying to the Watcher console. I think she's right. But at the same time, the way that she's the way that she's reacting is making me worry for her, because I'm starting to feel like she's maybe gonna miss that like more, how do I put this, compassionate, selfless side, and she's gonna be maybe a little bit more merciless and selfish. And that's not something I'm necessarily saying like, oh man, that's a horrible thing, or this is gonna be the fall of, this is like where her fall begins, you know, she's doomed after this. I don't think that's the case. Because I think that in the position that Buffy's in and when she's been going through, I think that it makes sense for someone to be like, I'm gonna reclaim this like sense of like respect and power that I should be commanding. Because she does deserve it. And the thing is that nobody treats her as if she deserved it. In fact, like a really fun thing that I didn't notice immediately, but I noticed later, was that earlier in the episode, Quentin was telling Buffy like what they're gonna do, and Giles interrupted, and then he was like, "Not now. I'm talking to Buffy, and I think she understands me." And Buffy's expression was one of like, "I don't know what the fuck he's saying." And then a fun inversion is that later in the episode, Buffy is being interrupted by one of the Watchers, and then she goes, "I want to hear a response from Quentin because I think that he's understanding me." I really like that inversion. It's really cool. And it's really cool that they reach a level of understanding where they are cooperating now. Good. They are cooperating. They're doing good things. And, you know, the council needed to kind of be told everything that they were told, because fuck the council. All my homies hate the council. So on the immediate level of the immediate results of that monologue that Buffy had, I feel like that was okay. I feel like that was a good thing. In terms of long term is what I'm worrying, because I'm worrying that Buffy's like mentality is starting to shift a little into something a little bit darker. Not dark, but darker, you know? Blacker shade of gray, I guess. In the sense that she's starting to see the world in a more power-based system where, you know, I am powerful, therefore I deserve X. And I want to be clear, because I think that this is important to keep reiterating, is that I'm not saying that what she did in this episode was bad, but it is something that I'm worrying, because I think that if this mentality is one that you keep defaulting back to, that could be a really bad thing for you. Because if you're in a situation where you need to command respect, you need to command a power, because like you feel like you're being treated unfairly, and you are, and you decide, I'm gonna fight back, I'm gonna reinstate myself as something that deserves to be respected. So I'm gonna place myself on top because fuck these people. And that's correct, then sure, perfect. I think that's awesome. But the next time, you're gonna do it again, because it worked last time, so you're gonna do it again. And maybe the second time, it will also be okay. Maybe the second time, someone was being really mean and unfair to you. But maybe the third time, someone will give you genuine criticism, like genuine questioning of your methods, of what you're saying, of the way that you're approaching the world. And if your response is to tell that person, fuck you, I do what I want because I deserve it, and you decide to keep doing the thing that honestly was bad, that's when you start spiraling. Because that's the point where you're kind of trapped yourself in this mentality of, you know what, I do deserve the best, and I should do whatever in order to get what I deserve, because fuck those people. I do what I should for myself. And if that is your default state, it doesn't take long for you to lose your mind. Because I think one of the most important aspects of just growth in general is being challenged, is being questioned, is the fact that somebody can look at you and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't have said that. That was a mean thing to say. And then you go, oh, sorry, I didn't know. Or like, I didn't think about it. Apologize, don't do it again. If your reaction to that is to say, fuck you, I do what I want, which is what will happen if you feed this mentality enough, that will become your default, and this will become your default response, then you will not only stagnate, but you will stagnate in a place of active bad thoughts and active bad habits, because you're not unlearning those bad habits. In fact, you're doubling down on them, because you're putting your self-preservation over the person next to you challenging you. And again, this is not to say that this is what Buffy is doing in this episode, because I think that what she's doing in this episode, I think, is completely fine. but it is a mentality that is making me worry for the future, because if she does this again, in the sense that she goes, fuck all of you, I am more powerful than every single one of you, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and you guys are gonna bend to my will. If she does that again in a situation where that is not warranted, then okay, we have to start really worrying about Buffy, because she has now developed a mentality that is actively extremely harmful, not just for her but for everyone around her. And also she's like the savior of the world, so maybe the whole world. and like the most worrying part about Buffy is not, you know, a fight. The thing that makes me the most worried about Buffy is her mental state. And this has always been the case. Whatever happens around Buffy's life, her mental state is the number one concern that I have. This is why whenever she's like fighting anyone, I'm like, whatever, who gives a shit? You know, it's like fight scene in brackets. That's all it says in the script. For me, I'm thinking about like, okay, what is her state? What is she thinking about? What is she feeling? That is the most important thing. If she pigeonholes herself in this weird mentality that is super fucking twisted in the long run, I would start really worrying about her. So I guess that's what I wanted to say about this like final monologue she has. And if I'm right on this, then I really like the fact that they put her on like a white coat, and then she takes a white coat to reveal a black like shirt or whatever. Like that's kind of honestly kind of fun, because she goes from like a more meek like white coat, like, oh, I'm like fragile, and then she takes it off and she takes this like confident stance with like the black. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, is this symbolical of anything? And it might not be. Maybe I'm overthinking the fuck out of this. The past 20 minutes of this video have meant fucking nothing. That's okay. That's okay. This is what I'm here for. This is what the channel is for. I'm just here to say words. And maybe they will mean something, maybe they will not. But something I will say is that if Joyce is killed or dies in some way, or even Dawn, that will really, really like signify that this is where Buffy goes dark, you know? Like that could very easily happen. This is a period in Buffy's life where like something like a big event like that could shape her forever. That could change everything about Buffy as a character. Yeah, that's a possibility. Hi, I am recording an extra thing here that I wanted to add to the video. And maybe or maybe not, I have been already screaming into my microphone for the past 10 minutes and I forgot to press record, so it didn't record anything. So I'll do it again. Fuck it. What was... Okay, something I identified as I was editing the video, and sorry if there's noise in the background, there's someone mowing the lawn, don't worry about it. But I mentioned how something feels off in that video. It feels off in the sense that like what Buffy's saying when she's talking to the council about like, you know, everyone tells me that I'm unimportant, that I don't have any power, and you know what? I do have power over all of you. And the reason why that feels off is because that's just factually not true. Because Glory burst into her house and threatened to murder all of her family. And they're now hiding. And like, Buffy, okay, the reason why it feels out of touch from Buffy, and it feels delusional, is because Buffy mentions Glory directly. Buffy mentions, like, Glory burst into my house and said that I was an insignificant insect, that it didn't matter. But she didn't kill me, and she didn't kill me because I have information, so she can't kill. Like, she doesn't have power over me, I have power over her. And, like, that's just not true. She has the most power over you. I feel like if somebody threatens to murder your family, if someone grabs your mom hostage, I feel like they have the most amount of power that somebody could possibly have over you. Honestly. And the fact that she doesn't, and she doesn't say that. She doesn't mention it. She doesn't mention the fact that her family was threatened to be murdered. She doesn't mention that. She just mentions like, oh, she didn't kill me because I have information. And it's like, okay, but that's why you have a family. You have a family and you have friends, and that they're in direct danger, and she has literally broken into your home and threatened them in front of you. Like, she's shown an explicit threat, and she said the next time someone is gonna die. So the fact that Buffy holds on to this idea of like, you know, I have power over all of you, so fuck all of you, you can't tell me what to do. It's like, okay, cool. Like that works in the context of the council, the Watchers. That's fine. Because she's right. She's right whenever she's talking about that to the council. She's saying like I don't work for you guys work for me. I'm the Slayer, this is what I do, this is what I'm gonna do. You guys better fucking help me or get the fuck out of here. You don't have any power over me. I am gonna do whatever the fuck I want. And I am gonna do my best. Because I am Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I'm gonna do my goddamn job. And if you guys want to get in the middle of my job, then fuck all of you. You have no purpose. You fail at the one thing you were supposed to be doing. That's fine. She's right when she says that. But the issue is where her mentality is at. And this is something I already mentioned in what I recorded previously. But she is very focused on herself. Again, by display of herself saying, like, you know, she didn't murder me because she needs me. And that means I have power over her. And it's like, bitch, what if she murders Joyce? What if she stabs Joyce's brain? What if she rips Dawn's throat? And that's probably not going to happen because she's the key. But it could. Like, that's your sister. Like, what if she just murders Willow? What if she just stabs Sandra? Like, she can just murder every single one of your family and your friends. What do you mean she has no power? She has all the power in the world. There's nothing that stops her from doing so. You can say, oh, like, well, she needs my information. She needs my collaboration. So, you know, I guess she's just calling her bluff, saying that it's an empty threat and she won't do anything because she needs me. And it's like, well, that's why your family's there. She's not going to murder you, but she's going to murder everyone you know. And in fear of murdering the second person, you're going to have to comply after she murders the first. Or do you want the second person to be murdered? There we go. Sandra's gone. Now we're off to move off in the third person. Are you going to talk now? And then she just goes through the entire list. And then she maybe gives up after you're out of people. But at that point, she's going to go on a rampage and murder everyone on the streets or something. And at that point, how many people has your stubbornness killed, Buffy? Right? And that's not something that is happening, but that is something that will happen if we go down this like path that Buffy is going down with this mentality that she has developed here at the end. And like it's interesting because okay, the way that scene works is that I'm looking at it and it's like she's right. She's right in saying that to the council. You know, she's right in saying like fuck all of you guys, like I am like, you guys need to help me, and if you don't, then go fuck yourself. Like, I'm gonna do my job, this is what I do, you guys need me. I am the one that holds power over all of you. She's right when she says that, and you know what? The way that scene works, and that we're seeing it, it's like, you know, like, we love to see a girl boss win, #slay. Like, it feels like, yeah, she's right. And you kind of are rooting for her. Hell, even in the reaction, earlier in the episode, I said, like, you know, I kind of just want to just tell him, like, you know, I can murder everyone in this room right now, right? Like, just, like, tell the council, fuck all of you guys, like, I'm the Slayer here. Like flex a little on them. And Buffy flexing on them the way she did, I feel like it's completely fine. But the issue is that her mentality that she's developing is, first of all, it's just factually wrong and also extremely detrimental to herself and to everyone around her. Because she's very self-centered. She's really only focusing on herself. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, I think that the reason why she's acting this way, I think that the reason why she's developing this thought pattern, this mentality, is that partially she's still hung up on Riley. And this is something I noticed, and this was kind of edited out of the video, I'm sorry, but in the episode, Buffy, I think she talks about Xander and she goes like, well, he has more field experience than every single one of you combined. And it's like, that's true. But I think that in that moment, it cut to Xander and it cut to the rest of the gang. And they went like, that's Riley talk, you know? And it was like a fun line of like, you know, this is Riley, the soldier, still among us on some level. This is what he would have said. But a different way you can interpret that is Buffy is still thinking about Riley when she's saying all of these things. And that goes into what I said, my previous recording, where I said, remember a couple episodes ago when Buffy and Riley had that argument, they have that discussion where Riley told Buffy, like, I feel like you don't want me, I feel like you don't need me, and I want to feel that way. And I feel like that is lacking in the relationship. And Buffy heard that, and she said, oh, is this about power? Like, are you intimidated that I'm more powerful than you, that I'm stronger than you? Like, and that was like, that is such a, like, girl, this has nothing to do with that thing. Like, he told you what it was, and Buffy just made up some other bullshit. And it's the same thing that I'm focusing on right now. if she's thinking about that, because she says in this episode, I am tired of people in the past few days just trying to make me feel insignificant. And if she's also referring to Riley when she says that, that means that she hasn't like figured out, or maybe she's just decided to completely forget that and revert back to her original thought, which was, oh, this is about power with Riley. And if she thought that way, or she's thinking about that now, and she's applying that to Riley retroactively, and she's applying that to Glory, and she's applying that to the Watcher Council, she's applying that to her college professor, she's applying that to everybody, like, it makes sense for someone who feels like Buffy feels like she's insignificant. Buffy feels like people are belittling her, or that the world is belittling her. Like, the world is continuing to tell her, like, you know, you ain't shit. Like, you can't do this, or like, you're not good enough. And Buffy's like, at some point, she's gonna go, fuck you, I'm good enough. And I will prove to you, I deserve respect, and I deserve to be treated right, and I deserve all of these things because I am Buffy Summers, and you will treat me with respect. Because I'm more powerful than you. I can do better than you. Why will you disrespect me? And it's this thing of like, it's right for her to try and claim the respect that she deserves, because everyone deserves respect. And the Watcher Council, whatever they were doing in this episode, completely, yeah, fuck them. They were doing some awful shit, and the way they were treating Buffy was disgusting. So she is right whenever she's saying that to them. But it feels like she's assigning that view of the world and of herself to everything now. And whenever she mentions Glory, because she mentions Glory, that's the part that's fucked up, is that she mentions Glory, and she says, you know, she burst into my home, and she was like, I'm gonna kill you, and then she didn't, and it's like, well, you know what? Because I hold power over her. And it's like, bitch, you don't! Like, she is holding your family hostage. She's holding your friends hostage. Like, are you gonna say I have more power than her whenever Joyce is fucking dead? Like, is that what we're going for, Buffy? Like, that is just factually wrong. And I feel like what I'm getting down to here, what I'm saying here is that I think Buffy's coping out of her mind. I think this is Buffy creating an armor as a coping mechanism. I feel like this is Buffy trying to latch onto whatever she can, which is her status as a Slayer and her fighting prowess, as armor in order to not feel as weak, in order to not feel as scared. And like, I understand that, I get that, and that is so sad, actually. That is really sad. Like, she's just deluding herself. She's lying to herself. I hate this guy who's mowing the lawn, like, right in front of my house, by the way. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can. And oh my god, I'm trying to talk about probably the most important character development for Buffy that I can see with my eyeballs. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I'm the one that's crazy. But this is really important, and this motherfucker is making noise. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up. So, what I'm saying is that Buffy, it feels like she's coping. It feels like she's creating this armor. It feels like she's trying to not feel as weak. She's trying to feel like she has some control in her life. But the sad reality is that she doesn't. The sad reality is that Glory is holding her family hostage, and she will murder them. And Buffy's trying to lie to herself and saying, hey, no, I hold power over her, and that's why everything's gonna be fine. That's why I'm gonna win. And it's like, that's not what this is about. Joyce is gonna die. Like, this is not about you. And it feels like Buffy, and this makes sense because this is a coming of age show, young adult show. Buffy is going through that moment, the transition into adulthood, and it feels like she's going through that phase of, I feel like I haven't been respected, and I want to command respect because I deserve it. And that's fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. But the issue is that in this situation that she is in, that's not the issue. That's not what we should be focusing on. That's not what we should be worried about. And the fact that Buffy is just going like, you know, you will respect me because of my status, because I have power. It's like delusional. Because, not delusional to the Watchers, because fuck them, she's right. But delusional in the sense that Glory absolutely holds power over you. And you should be scared. You should be afraid. And saying that you're not, saying that, like, you know, I shouldn't be scared because you should be scared of me because I have power over you, that's coping. That's factually not true. And if you hold on to that feeling and you try to act based on that assumption, your family's gonna die. Your friends are gonna die. Like, and that is what is really worrying me now. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe nothing of what I say is something that will happen or is even remotely close to being true. But this is something that, like, I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is what makes sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense for Buffy to hashtag girl boss all over the Watcher console at the end of the episode. I mean, over them specifically, yes. But the fact that she says, like, no, I have power over Glory, it's like, that to me is a red flag. That is a sign that Buffy is missing the forest for the trees. She's only focusing on how she feels and trying to cope and reclaim control and power over, like, that feeling that, you know, maybe I am worth something. Maybe I am not just completely insignificant. I can stand up for myself. But that's just not true right now. That is true in general, but not right now. And right now you should be worried about the fact that Joyce can just die. And, like, I don't know, does she feel safeguarded by Spike? Fuck no. Like, I argued before, oh, maybe the chip will not even let him fight Glory. I don't know how the chip works regarding gods. But even then, like, Spike has never won a fight against Buffy. Why would Buffy think that Spike would be able to beat Glory in some fashion? Would be able to, like, help and save Joyce or Dawn in any way? Why would she think that? And all I can think about is the fact that I think Buffy is just coping out of her goddamn mind. She's just grasping desperately, latching on to something in order to delude herself with the idea that she has control, when she very much does not. And that is extremely sad and extremely worrying. Very concerning, because this is the way that Joyce dies. If this is how Joyce dies, that will be beyond heartbreaking. Because there was the heartbreak of, like, you know, the brain tumor and seeing her deteriorate or whatever. That's sad. What's more heartbreaking is Buffy's, like, ego or self-centeredness being what kills her. That would be the worst thing. She's flying too close to the sun, it feels like. And maybe I will continue to say this, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just insane. Maybe nothing of what I'm saying is true, and none of it makes sense. And maybe she was just hashtag girl bossing all over those guys at the end of the episode. And I should have just been cheering for her, just like clapping, yay, tell him, Buffy. But all I can think about is, this is a toxic mentality. Not immediately, but yes, in the long run, if sustained enough. And the immediate issue is that, like, now that I realize, because this is something that I actually didn't realize this when I was talking about it before during the previous recording, and that's crazy to me because I didn't even consider. And it's like, I'm realizing now that like Glory very much has everyone hostage, and she literally went up, broke into Buffy's house and told her dead in the eyes, I will murder your family. Like, it's crazy, delusional for Buffy to say, hey, I have power over her. It's like, what is she saying? And all I can think about is she's losing sight of what actually matters, which is keeping them safe, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Sorry, I recorded like an hour and 10 minutes of discussion, and now I just recorded an extra 20 minutes. I'm fucking crazy. I'm gonna stop. And I even forgot to talk about Dawn, by the way. But I'm not gonna. This is too much time. I'm gonna talk about it next week or whatever. Like Dawn and her being like, you know, I'm gonna find out, you know, or like I know more stuff than you think I know, or like whatever. I don't know. We'll see what Dawn does next episode or episode from now. But like, I don't know. We'll just move forward. But I just wanted to talk about how I feel like Buffy feels like she was proven to be insignificant by Riley. She was made to feel insignificant by Glory. She's being made to feel insignificant by her college and her college professor and the Watcher Council. So at this point, she's had enough, and she's like, fuck all of you guys, I will prove to you that I am good, and I am Buffy, and I have power, and you will respect me. And it's like, Buffy, your mom is dead. What are you doing? So that's what I'm thinking. That's it for this recording. I am going to go now. Curse the man who's fucking mowing the lawn right now. Fuck him. All right, see you guys next time. Bye. Anyway, that was this video. I spoke for like over an hour over a bunch of shit, and none of it might be real. Like this, like theory about Buffy and what she's feeling, or maybe where she can go. Fucking Rasputin, the nicest of Ascension, whatever. None of it might mean anything, but that's my discussion. So, all right. Thank you guys for tuning in for this. See you guys next time. Bye. And alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode reaction to Buffy. If you would like to watch the next 2 episode reactions, as well as Angel watch-alongs, full-length reactions, all sorts of cool stuff that I do, check out the Patreon. Link in the description below, social media, all sorts of cool stuff that I do. See you guys next time. Take care, bye-bye.